Hey, Shackers, welcome back to This Week in Switch 2. It's a very special episode, you guys. Uh,
Yes.
I'm your host, Asif Khan. I'm CEO, Editor in Chief, EIEIO, which stands for Extremely Intelligent, Extreme Intelligence Officer here at Shacknews. As the AI bubble might be bursting, I can tell you the EI bubble is alive and well and increasing in valuation by the day. I'm joined by my usual co hosts. I have news editor Donovan Erskine here.
What's up?
Not Nvidia stock, and have I think maybe today it is, but every dog has its day. And I'm also joined by head of long reads, David Craddock here.
Hello.
Hey, um, before we get into it, we have 35 days left in the reign of terror of Doug Bowser.
Just over a month.
Just
What
over a
could he
month.
do in this time, Asif?
Release Rad Racer on the NES Nintendo Switch Online app,
That'd be nice.
right?
Yeah.
Um, announce an F-Zero game.
But wouldn't that be a nice parting gift for you?
Yeah, you know, maybe he wants to just leave that for his successor, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad at that. Yeah, I don't know what else. It's not like he's gonna show up on a Nintendo Direct,
No.
so
He
that's
could
not
tweet a little
happening.
bit, I guess.
Yeah, he'll definitely tweet. Do you think we'll get that, like, when Reggie retired, like gave us that address from his desk? It was like a video
Oh
that
yeah.
they posted from his desk. Do you think we'll get a video from Doug?
Maybe to carry on a tradition, if that's what Reggie intended to start. I could see that. Or maybe he'll just
Yeah,
leave the way he came in, like kind of quietly, you know?
The Irish
maybe he'll tweet
goodbye.
it.
Yeah.
He'll
Irish
tweet.
goodbye.
He'll tweet goodbye. It'll
He
just be.
will. He will.
I think it'll. You know, for his reign, it would be fitting if he has some sort of a Bowser meme, like ready to go, or maybe
Yeah.
even Nintendo of America has a Bowser meme,
Yeah.
like saying like bye or something. But yeah,
Uh,
like if it's like Steve Carell in The Office, I wouldn't be mad, you know. But what would be
Right.
the equivalent of
if
Pam
he
running
slipped
to?
out the day before.
Yeah, yeah. But also, like, what would be the equivalent of like Pam running to the airport to see Doug Bowser off? Like, who would that even
I think it's
be?
you.
Me? I show up.
Yeah,
I show up in Redmond.
it's you.
Carrying
If you
your
sh-
shoes.
it's you showing up to his office on December 30th, like trying to ask him one last time to announce the new F-Zero before he leaves, and you show up and his office is empty, and they're like, "Oh, he's already at the airport." And you like run and meet him at the gate, and you're like, "Please, just an F-Zero game." And you guys both disconnect your microphones and have a private conversation that nobody hears. And then he leaves.
Well, like, of all the things he did, he shipped F-Zero 99 during his reign of terror. So I appreciate that, even if
Yeah.
he's not credited on the game at all, because he's not.
Because yeah.
Oh man, it's unfortunate that like the president of Nintendo of America is not really as heralded of a position as it once was, David.
It's not, because I feel like Reggie was so much more present. You know, we've
Yeah,
talked about this, but like he was in directs. We had Muppet Reggie. He was the face of Nintendo of America. And the president of Nintendo of America actually fulfills pretty important functions for the American marketing of games and hardware. But like Doug Bowser, we just don't know. I mean, we've talked about on this podcast where, what would his like a departure montage be
yeah.
for him? It'd be like a couple of tweets and a couple of Nintendo Direct appearances.
And
Like,
that one
what else?
time we did an interview with him before he was president of Nintendo of America. Like we actually have a
Yeah,
Shacknews interview with Doug Bowser. I
yeah.
believe it's about esports of all things, which is
Oh,
even more bizarre. Anyway, we appreciate you, Doug. Whatever it is you've done, and whatever it is you're going to do, like
yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. Should we hit some news or should we hit the? Should I? Am I burying the lead for this episode? What?
Let's. I don't know. I say we save the main event for the main event.
Okay, yeah, we'll save the main event. But yeah, we got some news. So we've had this "Do It for Shacknews" award for years at the Shacknews Awards, which it's a pretty nebulous category where it's just you did something for
Yeah.
Shacknews. And many years ago, Panic Button won this. They're a port house, largely, and they ported Rocket League and Doom 2016 to the original Nintendo Switch.
Right.
And they were great ports. And they just kind of casually announced this last week, Donovan, like, hey,
Mhm.
by the way, thanks to Nintendo for trusting us to port these games over to the Switch 2 upgrades of these games over to the Nintendo Switch 2. And
Mhm.
one of them was freaking Mario Odyssey.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, three of them. Yeah, Mario Odyssey, and then there are three Mario games in ARMS. It was the list of four here they confirmed was New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario 3D World, plus Bowser's Fury, and ARMS. They helped update all four of those games for the Switch 2 with Nintendo, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean, what a get for Panic Button.
but also it's just like it shows like their work did not go unnoticed in the last generation. And
Yes, Nintendo is very careful about who it collaborates with outside of its own confines, so it speaks volumes.
to give them that those like to give them Mario Odyssey, man, like that's what number one or two best game on the Switch.
Yeah, it's up
Uh,
there.
depending on who you are, but like obviously, I think a lot of people love love Breath of the Wild a little bit more. Uh,
Mhm.
a complete aside, I don't know if you saw Donovan. Variety had their top 100 comedy movies of all time.
They did. I saw Naked Gun was the number one on their list,
You know what wasn't included
which
at all?
great movie. What?
Tommy Boy.
I need to go through and look because I only saw the ones that popped up here and there.
I
But
control F for Chris Farley, David Spade, and Tommy Boy.
I mean that's my favorite thing to do when I see any top whatever list is Control F thing I like, and I'm like, let's see how hard I'm about to judge this list,
I,
and
I'm
then
sorry, like
go from there.
I'm sorry. That's maybe I'm biased, David, because it takes place in Sandusky, Ohio.
Right.
But also I think it's one of the funniest movies ever. Anyway, that's a complete aside. But yeah, congratulations to Panic Button. I hope they get to do more of this. Um,
Yeah,
or you know what? Have them help with Elden Ring because they learned.
That
seriously.
or like go back to Doom and bring the Dark Ages to Switch 2.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
It just I think that we've talked about a lot on the show that like game ports feel like they've gotten like more finicky as the years have gone on. Like it's not just the Switch thing; we see it on like PlayStation, PC, Xbox too. So for Panic Button to have such a like strong record of porting games over, it just becomes more and more impressive. I think as the years go on. So yeah, I'd love to see them handle some bigger projects.
this is also one of those things where like it's gonna be a thing Nintendo needs to do throughout this whole generation of Switch 2.
Yep.
And Furukawa mentioned on their earnings, like, hey, we're gonna actually be acquiring studios. Maybe Panic Button is one of those studios that Nintendo should just acquire. If you're gonna trust them with these IP, this might be one that you just put a ring on and you have them be in charge of some of these ports.
Panic Button kind of reminds me of Rare from the 80s and 90s, where it was a studio that was so good with Nintendo hardware architecture that Nintendo trusted them more and more
Yeah,
until, now the difference obviously was Rare was developing its own IP, but
yeah.
I think it's the analog is that they just know the hardware that well.
Mm-hmm.
And that I could see them becoming as trusted a studio as Rare was for Nintendo in the 80s and 90s.
And then they kind of became second party and then first party. So like I
Yeah.
think it would be interesting to see Panic Button like actually cook and make their own game.
Yeah.
you know, but
People feel that way about studios like Night Dive too, right? Like they do
yeah,
such quality work on ports and remasters that you can't help but wonder what would they do if they could do their own IP.
yeah. And Night Dive got acquired by Atari, so there's
Right.
like I guess my point is there's like merit to this kind of work that's being done, and I feel like these studios are kind of unsung heroes of the Switch generation. Like we saw it with like Iron Galaxy, right? Like they did a great job with the I think it was one of the Diablo ports to the Switch, the original Switch. But yeah, we salute you, Panic Button. Uh, Mario Odyssey runs great on the Switch too. I mean, it was great on the Switch One. It's one of the best performing games on Switch One. But that was one of those free updates. I'm really shocked we didn't get a Switch Two edition of that. Uh, I thought that was
Yeah.
a slam dunk kind of thing.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
you know,
I would have bet on that happening. So
yeah. Instead, we got the Mario Wonder Switch Two edition, which I'm not mad at
yeah.
either.
I mean, but it is like who knows, right? Like they haven't set a time limit, for how long they can wait to announce a Switch 2 edition. They just announced Animal Crossing after two directs and months of news. So who knows? I mean, it could still happen.
So what you're telling me is we could still get a Nintendo Land Switch 2 edition, even though we didn't get Nintendo Land on the Switch?
Well, that might be a bit of a reach, but
Yeah, probably. I liked Nintendo Land, David.
I know. I thought it had some pretty good games in there.
The Wii U gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say about it. We did get some Nintendo Switch Online news. The David's favorite subscription service that's like a leaky faucet drip dropping.
Yeah.
Kind of surprising though. We got Battletoads.
Speaking of Rare.
Speaking of Rare,
Yeah.
and Ninja Gaiden 2. These are like two really good NES games. Oh,
Really good, really NES hard NES games.
yeah, like super NES hard. Like I was
Yeah.
thinking about it because man, I sucked at Battletoads when I was a kid. I was terrible at it. I don't think I got
To
past
me,
level 2 or 3.
it was the Turbo Tunnel, right?
Yeah.
Like to me, that game that might as well be the last level because I never saw what came after it.
Well,
I
there's
don't.
that stupid one with like you were swinging back and forth and it would like the scissor guys.
Oh yeah, you were like rappelling down, and
Was that level 2?
that was level 2.
Yeah, so like if by some miracle I got past level 2, yeah, the speeder level was like insanely hard.
Yeah,
I'm like, should I try in my elder statesman era to try to play this game?
that might be fun to stream.
Yeah, like how like it would be like a speed run to see how long until I rage quit
Yeah,
Battletoads, but yeah.
that might be if we do it at the office. That might be a pass the controller back and forth situation, honestly,
Yeah.
because like I doubt I could do it either.
Yeah. And yeah, Ninja Gaiden 2 hard as hell, but also really good.
Also really good. Yeah.
The gameplay of those original Ninja Gaiden games, like those were outstanding. Even the art, like the level design, like seeing snow in a level and like all that stuff
Like
was really
you,
cool.
for the original Ninja Gaiden, you remember that opening where you saw Ryu? It was like that letterbox almost of his eyes. Like
Yeah.
those were some of the first cutscenes in video games,
It was
which
like
is kind of cool to
cinematic
see.
in
Yeah.
on an 8-bit game. Yeah, absolutely. It actually told a story. Uh it was in that era of like a lot of side-scrolling action games that weren't necessarily just platformers,
Mm-hmm.
Contra. But yeah, that game sticks out. And then on Game Boy, David, we got Bionic Commando, which was actually a pretty deep gameplay loop for a Game Boy game. And
Yeah.
Kid Icarus of Myth and Monsters, which Kid Icarus, man, ahead of its time. Like that game should find new life on the Switch too. That franchise
I
should come back.
It should. Now I'm not familiar. Did you play Kid Icarus on Game Boy? Because I only played the NES version.
I didn't have a Game Boy, so no.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. I
One of
did like I think I got it the year it launched, but because I was a kid and I depended on my parents to get me games, I would only get like 2 games a year. And I just never knew about Kid Icarus on
Yeah,
Game
you
Boy.
probably had Tetris and
Tetris,
Mario
Super Mario
Land.
Land.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was like most of my friends who had one. Those were like the two games.
Yep.
And then like yeah, you got Link's Awakening down the road or whatever. But yeah, no, I didn't. One of the great injustices of my gaming life, I did not have a Game Boy.
Mm.
My parents said it was a fad,
Oh man.
and I just really wanted to play Tetris, so I got I got the whole hey, we have Tetris at home on the, so I got it for NES, which I'm not mad at. I thought the Tetris NES game was.
Did you get Nintendo Tetris or Tengen Tetris?
Which one had the Kremlin that took
I think
off?
that was Nintendo's version.
Yeah, I had the
I think it was.
Nintendo Tetris.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that I look, it's not complaining. It's a
No,
those are fabulous versions of Tetris. And hell, the esports still kind of built around that.
it
Uh,
is. And just circling back to this, I kind of want to try Kid Icarus of Myth and Monsters just because this game would be brand new to me. So I
you know,
might put some time into it.
it was funny because I was watching these trailers, because Nintendo puts out this like it's like four trailers in one kind of video, and I was like, I should start playing some Game Boy games on my Switch too, just because
Hmm.
like I can finally play these games, and like
Right.
I remember like being on the bus and like my friend letting me try Super Mario or like Land and obviously Tetris. And when Tetris came out on the Game Boy app, I definitely tried it out.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I was watching it. I'm like, I should probably give these games a chance. And then even watching your gameplay of the Game Boy and on the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, like I was just like, I don't feel like I missed out too much there,
No, you did not.
but
You did not.
like Mario Land was really good.
It was. Do you remember the power up you had? It wasn't the fire flower, but you got this ball,
Yeah,
and it could like ricochet off walls and stuff. So
yeah,
it had really unique power ups for its time too.
that ball is in Super Mario Maker too.
Yes, it is.
I even have a level based on it. It's a
Hmm.
it's one of those remember that whole like genre of like 20-second speedrun levels? It was one of
Yeah.
those.
Oh,
So
okay.
you have to like shoot it on the ground and bounce it off of the ceiling to unlock something. But
All
yeah,
right.
I love that mechanic. That was actually like really cool. Uh,
Mhm.
I liked how like that was an era where Nintendo just like kind of experimented with their IP. But going back to Kid Icarus, like he had like a projectile system. Like it wasn't like a power up system. He had like his bow and arrow or like different. It was like a shooter more than it was a platformer, and like you didn't have to worry about jumping as much because you could fly around at times. It was very unique, and I don't know if there's room for like side scrolling Kid Icarus game in 2025, but like I just think this IP is begging for a revival. And as someone who is frequently alleged to only ask for F-Zero revivals, I am here asking for a Kid Icarus revival. Uh,
Yeah.
and before Kirby Air Riders got announced, I really thought we were going to get a new Kid Icarus Uprising because that was like one of the best games on 3DS, and it is a forgotten gem of that era. Um,
I'd like to see more 3DS games on Switch too. Actually, like I still think Ocarina of Time 3D and Majora's Mask 3D are the definitive versions of those games, and they work great in 2D. So why not port them to the Switch too?
and Star Fox 3D,
And Star Fox.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's another IP they could acknowledge someday.
Yep.
Speaking of an IP that doesn't need acknowledgement but keeps getting it, Pokemon. They're like dropping like every other week, Donovan. There's something about this Mega Dimension DLC. Uh, so we got a
Yeah.
new Mega Evolution revealed, right?
Yeah, this time it's Zera Aura, which was an electric mythical type, or not mythical type, but a mythical Pokemon, which mythical is like a subdivision of like legendary. It's like
Okay.
almost like a pseudo legendary, but that's also its own thing. That was introduced in Sun and Moon. And it's like this like bipedal, like electric kind of fox kind of Pokemon. Very cool design. Um, Very fast because most electric type Pokemon are fast. And it's getting a Mega Evolution, which looks pretty cool. It kind of inverts the color scheme because their aura's got like yellow fur with like some blue accents. And now there's like a lot of blue fur and some yellow accents in the Mega Evolution. I'm starting to notice a pattern here where they like this twin tail get up because Zera Aura has a tail, but now the Mega's gonna have two tails, which they're also doing with the one of the Mega Raichus. I think it's a play on the Y motif because there's the X and Y
Okay.
theme that goes on with a lot of megas. I don't know if you've seen this. There's a not I don't know about a conspiracy, but a belief that like every mega Pokemon is in the shape of an X or a Y if you look hard enough. And it's like
Hmm.
some of them are obvious, and then some you have to really reach for. But it's like a running joke now. Whenever they reveal one, someone will take like a Sharpie overlay on like Photoshop and be like, "There it is. There's the X." Um, yeah, so Zeraora looks cool. Going to be in the Mega Dimension DLC. Fascinating marketing ramp up to this DLC. We went from Legends Arceus, which didn't even get DLC, to them straight up being like, "Hey, we're gonna weekly or every 2 weeks announce a new Mega until this thing comes out." And they've even got like a there was like a graphic where it was a schedule, and it was like November 8th question mark, December 1st question mark. Like we're gonna lead up into all these announcements, which has been fun. I think that they learned lessons from like the viral marketing of Legends Arceus, where they're putting out those like weird found footage videos of people discovering Pokemon and stuff that
Oh,
still pops off on
that was
social
for
media.
ZA, right? The
ZA, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the those like live action ish kind of things that they were doing.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think the marketing's been really interesting. They even had that crossover with the luchador wrestling
Yeah.
thing that I thought was really
Mhm.
cool. Oh yeah, I did see the Starmie Rogue Mega.
Oh, what'd you think of Mega Starmie?
Yeah. I'm here for it. I wasn't mad at
Okay.
it.
Maybe the most talked about Mega, I think, that got like added in ZA because for those I mean it's like just a bigger Starmie, but now it's like legs are
Yeah.
elongated and it walks around
It's
like a
funny.
person.
It is funny to see it like kind of like running towards you or whatever,
It
but
is. And it kicks. When it does some moves, it'll be like, it'll just kick you with this like
I
leg, but it's still Starmie.
I also beat the crap out of it. Like it was not a hard battle for me.
No.
I think
Yeah, it's very gettable.
my team composition was like I don't know, dude. My boys, whatever the hell was it, a hexacross,
Yeah. Heracross, yeah, yeah.
heracross. uh, he's a machine in this game for me. So
Really
like
good.
I have he destroyed Starmie. I don't think I needed any
Mhm.
other help. So like sometimes I run into a rogue mega where like it'll fucking wipe three of my players or whatever. Other
Yeah.
times it's like, well, that was easy. I think the Starmie was one of those like, huh, that was kind of easy. I did I find it funny how like getting to the rogue megas Donovan like becomes harder as you progress through the game.
Yes, it does.
And
It just becomes like tedious.
yeah, cuz it's like scaffolding. Adventures in scaffolding, man. Like and
Yeah.
some of the scaffolding is just dumb. I'll say it like
It's
I
very
like
Pokemon.
yeah, I'm like okay. And then like if you have to get to these rooftops, right, David? Like I'm sure you
That's the part I'm at now, which is tedious. Like I'm on the second wave of finding the rogue evolutions, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Let me show you how to float across rooftops." And like that's a cool ability, but then it becomes a puzzle. Like I see Tawny like in the distance, and I'm like, "Ah, how do I get over there?" And it's
yep.
not really straightforward, and I don't really like it, but
Hmm.
whatever.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
There's a lot of that.
I'll give you that. It is that's like one of the most annoying parts of the game. It gets more annoying as you
Oh
progress.
boy.
But like it is so far the answer has been walk around buildings until you find a hollow elevator or scaffolding. And
Yeah.
then prepare to run into random Pokemon on the roof on your way to the Rogue Mega.
Some rare Pokemon on rooftops. Worth keeping an eye out.
Yeah.
There's some that only
mm,
spawn up there, like Riolu is one of them. Dratini, which evolves into Dragonite, is only on rooftops.
Yeah. A lot of like flying type Pokemon are up there.
Yeah, a lot of birds hanging out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Early on, I think it was one of the first hollow elevators I found, Donovan. I was like, oh, I guess I'll take it up there. And it was like I got jacked by all these Pidgeotos. I was like, oh god damn, like they were like
Yeah.
enraged or whatever.
Hmm.
You know when they have like the red eyes or whatever.
Oh, like an alpha.
Yeah. I ran
Yeah.
into like an alpha Pidgeotto on a roof, and this was like super early on in my playthrough, and I got killed. I was like, oh my god, or fainted, whatever. I was just like,
Uh,
damn, these things go hard. Uh,
Hmm.
so there's definitely like a whole. I could see how like after I finished the main story, there's like this whole completionist thing where you have to go to a bunch of rooftops. I could see that being the thing. I do like as annoying as I find the rooftops during the rogue, you know, when you're like doing those rogue megas. I like the rooftops in the battle zone. Um, like I find that's not as annoying and it's kind of fun going up there. But yeah, we're bearing the lead. David, you're playing Pokemon Legends ZA.
I am, and I'm loving it. This is the first, kind of like you, Asif. I fell off Pokemon for a while, maybe even longer, because I didn't play the GBA generation. I played a lot of Blue, and then I played a lot of Yellow, because that one like
Yeah.
had kind of the cartoon tie-in. Like you started with Pikachu, because Pikachu Mania was everywhere.
Yeah. Team Rocket,
Um,
Jesse and James are in that one.
yeah, yeah. And so then I got into this one, which is fun in one way, which is that a lot of these Pokemon are new to me. Like almost all I've
Mhm.
seen are ones that I don't remember from back in the day. Kind of like you've said that before, Asif. Like there's so
Yeah.
many new Pokemon now. Um, and I'm really, really liking it. Like I dig the real time battles. I kind of have a crew. So what I really like is leveling up. Pokemon doesn't feel too tedious. What I'll do is I'll put like a level 6 or a level 10 or whatever in my lineup. Go to a high level wild Pokemon zone, grind it a couple times, and before I know it, they're like up to like level 30. But I have a crew. I roll with Charizard, Raichu, and Feraligatr, who can like they can
Nice.
dominate most everything. And I'm just really liking it. I'm liking the story. I'm liking the battle system. I like the battle zones at night. I find myself doing those even when I've already earned challenger tickets, just because I want to battle more
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon trainers.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, the part I'm at now, which is where you're looking for rogue evolutions on rooftops, like I said, and I'm not really liking that so much, just because again the navigation over rooftops is, I feel like, intentionally tedious, even though I like the hover mechanic. But other
Right.
than that, I'm really, really enjoying this game. It's cracked my top 10 list of games for the year for sure.
I think something that the Pokemon franchise has done really well over the years, and maybe doesn't even get enough credit for anymore, is how they've eased the grind of those games.
Mhm.
Because I think some of the rougher edges in gens like 1 through 3, maybe 4, was like getting XP. Because yeah, you had to like go switch out your Pokemon, and then you'd have to like switch train, which is when you like send one out and then immediately swap it for a more powerful Pokemon, so it gets the XP, and then eventually they put in the XP share, but that would only give XP to one Pokemon, and then it was the
Mhm.
XP all, and then somewhere around Gen 6 or 7, like on the 3DS era, they were like, screw it, no more item. If a Pokemon's in your party, it's just going to like naturally gain XP when you do stuff.
Yeah.
And now you don't even have to go to like the PC at the Pokemon Center to take Pokemon in and out. I know hardcore Pokemon fans thought there was an overcorrection and that they made it too easy. But I don't know. I think you look around at a lot of JRPGs and how they're all 70, 80 hours long because of like progression and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
Pokemon just makes it really easy. And they throw a lot of like candy at you, like the XP candies, the rare candies. Um,
I was
it's
having
very, very
Pokemon
frequent.
hold those until I started getting Mega Evolution Stones, which is where I am now. Um, and like I would like Pikachu held the medium candy until he leveled up, and he would get more XP from battles. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
I think you just use them on them. Like
You can use them on them, but they can also hold them, and they
yeah.
get more
Does holding them give them
XP from
a
battles.
passive boost? If so,
Yeah,
that's a today I learned. But
yeah.
yeah, they throw those at you, which those have been that was another recent invention by them.
the
I think
thing
that
that
stuck
Mhm.
around
the thing
Pokemon
I
Go.
noticed from when I was like playing these games to now is that your Pokeballs, if you throw them and you miss, they come back to you at a Pokemon Center now. There's that guy who's like, "Have you lost Pokeballs? Here you go," and that just wasn't the case before. The only thing that like I have recognized some Pokemon in the game from David is I played a lot of Pokemon Go, so like
Oh, right,
I
sure.
did encounter some of the new generation of Pokemon there. But even
Hmm.
that, Donovan, like they kind of drip dropped what generations were in
Yeah,
Go.
it took them a long while to catch up.
Yeah, so like I'm still like when it comes to like these Gen 9 or Gen 8 Pokemon, I am
Uh,
like, huh. Like who are these guys? And like I don't know when it happened, Donovan, but like Pokemon became a lot more about robot looking Pokemon at some, I don't know what generation that was.
Yeah, it's funny. I think around Sun and Moon, which was D 3DS like 2016, I think is
Yeah.
the Sun and Moon came out. They did something called Ultra Beasts, which were like these weird offshoot Pokemon that like I always didn't like them because I thought they looked like Digimon. And
Yes.
they had these like weird designs to them. There was like Buzzwole, which looked like a huge mosquito with like muscles. It was like a human bug. They did like one that was it's called Stack Attacka, which was like a tower. It just looked like a tower made of stone, but it was a Pokemon. They did a bunch of those, and then right after that on the Switch, they did Sword and Shield, which was like England based. There was like a lot of like mechanical industrial inspiration. So that's when you got like the new coughing version that had like a smokestack on its head.
Yeah.
Um, since you guys stopped playing Pokemon, we got like Kling Clang, which is like the Metal Gear Pokemon, Klefki, which is literally a pair of keys that's in ZA.
I definitely
Yeah,
encountered
I don't.
Klefki already.
Yeah, that was an infamous one when that got revealed. That was part of the wave of people being like Game Freak's out of ideas. But I never leaned towards those Pokemon. I always like the ones that like animals. I don't
Yeah.
like when they look like Digimon or other things. But yeah, there's a good mix at this point. The Pokédex is over 1,000, so I guess at some point you gotta shake things up. But
Makes sense.
Yeah, I've seen it. My Pokedex says so I know it divides into like what you've seen and what you have. And
yeah,
my Pokedex is up to like 63 total. So I know I've barely scratched
okay,
the surface on this game because I only
yeah,
have Wild Zones 1 through 12. And I was looking up like, there's that point early on where you get to choose between the OG3, Charmander, Bulbasaur, or Squirtle. And I chose Charmander obviously because I'm using Charizard, but I was wondering like,
yeah.
okay, where can I find the other ones? And it said, oh, look in Wild Zone 20, and I was like, damn, I have a
Oh
ways to go then.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's gonna be an end game thing, unfortunately, to get the
that's
other
okay
ones at
though
least.
because
Yeah.
I intend to keep playing. Like
Mhm.
I forgot entirely about this DLC until we brought it up in this episode, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep playing a lot just because I really just like the gameplay loop quite a
Yeah.
bit.
It's fresh, man. Like it does this good job of like, yeah, okay, sometimes you have a promotion match you gotta grind to, but other times you have these rogue megas that you gotta help, and then other times your partner gets your one of your teammates becomes indebted to the local mob. Like it's just like random things
Wow.
that'll happen. Um
Mhm.
and it's just funny. It's really well written. Um and yeah, like I think it's just fun. It's a fun video game, and
Yeah.
it needed this so badly, Donovan, because like I
It
was
did.
tired of the turn-based elements in that game.
The Legends games are still early. It's only the second one after Arceus, but they're quickly becoming like the most interesting Pokemon games, like the ones that are going to have the widest appeal. Too early to tell, but it almost is starting to feel like a Shin Megami Tensei to Persona situation,
Yeah.
where it's like the spin-offs are just always more interesting and more compelling because of their like mechanics and characters and stuff.
Hmm.
Where it's like they got to go hard with Gen 10, whatever the next mainline games are. You can't have those come out and then all the people who got on board with ZA are like, I don't care about that. Um,
Yeah.
but it's fun, and I think Lumio City has always been one of my favorite Pokemon locations from X and Y. It's Pokemon Paris. They made it a stage in Smash Brothers. So for them to go back in the Switch era and kind of fully flesh it out and make it a proper explorable city, I thought was so cool.
It is
So that's
it.
why.
You know?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, they're speaking French sometimes. I wondered why. And now that makes sense
Yeah.
now. Okay.
So yeah, Pokemon X and Y, that the region Kalos is supposed to be Pokemon France, just the whole country, the region's France, and then Lumio City was just like one area in the center point. It's the biggest
Oh,
city, and you go there for some like story stuff. But there are like a bunch of other towns and stuff in that region. And if you have like the map of Kalos, it's 1-to-1 France. Like the shape of it's got that like almost
wow.
like pentagon kind of landmass shape. And yeah, Lumiose is Paris. Pokemon for a while, I think the first four gens were all different based on Japanese regions.
Yeah.
Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, and then Sinnoh. And then it was Black and White where they did New York City. Was what that region was inspired by. X and Y was Paris. Sun and Moon was Hawaii. Sword and Shield was England, and then Scarlet and Violet was Spain. So they
Mm.
haven't done a Japanese inspired region in a while, but that could change soon. We'll see.
Yeah, I have a feeling it will. No, I think the setting lends to some of the writing. Naveen kind of being this jaded, like, I don't want to eat your stupid croissant curry person, like
Yeah.
that's like hilarious. But also just some of the NPC you'll run into
Oh
are
my
very
god.
French. Um,
I'm glad you brought up the writing and the NPCs because I've been taking screenshots of some of my favorite NPC banter. Like it's hilarious. Like I found this one guy who's like, "We just stand around. It's not like we do anything." I was like, "That's commentary on RPG NPCs in general sometimes."
yes,
Fair.
it's extremely self aware about that, and it's like
Yeah,
sarcastic and glib about it too. Where I think that's
yeah,
so damn funny. Yeah, I've run into that too, David. It's like extremely well written, and it's like a throwaway line for an NPC that's just standing on the street, right? Like, yeah,
yeah.
there's stuff like that is hilarious in this game.
There's one, I think I even called it on this podcast when I was playing for review, but there's a guy walked up to him and he just goes, "Gee, people in the city sure like talking to themselves." This is good. There's a good awareness there from Game Freak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
NPC
yeah.
was very funny.
But I do think the setting lends itself to that like sarcasm because the French culture is a little bit more uh,
Yeah.
caustic than some other European cities even. But yeah, I think it's been I'm we have this must play list for our game of the year consideration, and Donovan and I asked you early on. You're like, I don't know if it is or if it isn't, and then like I played it, and I haven't actually progressed very much because I was writing this review that we're about to talk about, and I'm also playing a game for review right now that I can't talk about. So like I have had to kind of put down Pokemon for a little bit, but over this Thanksgiving weekend, I intend to play it a little bit more. I feel like I'm close to the end, and
You are. You can beat it
yeah,
over break for sure.
but I'm really enjoying it. And it like it was funny talking to David this weekend about it because like it's not that like your endorsement of it means less, Donovan, but it's just like you're a Pokemon fan. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna play every Pokemon game that comes out, right? Um,
Yeah.
Whereas like I will try them, but if I don't like a Pokemon game, I'm gonna put it down and be like, it's just another Pokemon game. This is
Mhm.
not just another Pokemon game. This is like an excellent video game that's like different. And like I just I was like I'm like there's something going on here if I'm still talking about a Pokemon game, you know, here in 2025 like it is like something new. But yeah, it's really good. It's a very good game, and I noticed that TJ also has kind of fallen in
I
love
was
with
gonna
it.
give TJ a shout
Yep.
out. He's really liking it too. Yeah. This has been
So
cool.
so we're seeing that. I know Ozzy was enjoying it already. You
Yeah.
point out in a past episode that Greg's the one that should be eating this up. He's the one who's been complaining about the battle format for
For
years.
years. For years, yeah. He's been saying they need to stop doing turn-based battles, so I know he
It,
played the demo and liked it, but
yeah,
he better play the whole game and like it too, because he got
yeah.
what he wanted.
He finally got what he
Um,
wanted.
yeah.
Um,
Only person who I know on staff that played it and still didn't really like it was Sam, because he had to play it for Shack Map stuff. He was sending me a screenshot. He was like, mate, what is going on with this game? But I
yeah.
know he's not the biggest RPG guy in general, but
No,
been a
no.
pleasant surprise though how many people did like it.
But I think it's also like, hey, you have to do these guides, but like first, here's like an hour of tutorial, and you're like, oh
Yeah,
god,
that doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel
no.
good.
It is I wouldn't say it's a slow ramp, but it's like there's a lot of new stuff going on, and if you haven't played again a more involved action RPG, like you're gonna be confused. So I think they do a good
Yeah.
job of training you or explaining what's going on.
Actually,
I
I was gonna say about the tutorial. I think this is one of the smoothest I've ever played because I think the
Okay.
problem with tutorials, like this game made me really think about this. I think the problem I have with a lot of tutorials is they do bury the lead. They take forever to get to the meat and potatoes of a game, whereas this game almost right away, like you're battling. I'm like, oh, okay, this is the
Yeah.
game. I get it. And then you do that right away. And then I didn't even notice when the tutorial ended. It was just when one of the members of
Yeah,
Team Z was like, oh, okay, we're gonna be back at the hotel. So meet up there when you want. And I was like, I think I'll go grind some Pokemon. I was like, oh, I'm able to just do what I want now. Like it just
yeah.
Mhm.
sort of ended. And I didn't even realize it had ended. It was really smooth. I just liked it.
I like how you get robbed. Like the first thing in the game, it's like you've been robbed, and then just kind of like throws you in. Like it's not. You're right. Like
Yeah.
it's not like here's the like come to this person who will explain every single move to you. No, it's like
Yeah.
it's fluid. It's like part of the story. It's organic, and I agree. Like I didn't think it was like oh some nauseatingly long thing. I thought it was pretty organic, and it makes sense because you need to know, hey, these are the new mechanics in this game. But also, like, you pick
Mhm.
your starter within what, like 10 minutes of starting the game. Like, it's not,
Very quickly.
yeah. And David and I picked the same starter, so
Oh, really?
Totodile.
Totodile is very popular. Yeah, I mean it's a legend. That's OG Pokemon Gen 2 baby, Silver and Gold. I love
Yeah,
that Totodile.
Oh, nice.
yeah, Totodile for You've already evolved Totodile to Feraligatr.
I have.
Yeah, so David's moving quickly. Uh,
Yeah, he's playing.
I was like fumbling into this, David, because like it was like I was like, wait, what's going on? I do what here? I'm like, I started just when you give me an open world of any size, I just start wandering around looking at stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
Sure.
to your point earlier, Diamond, about like just finding stuff. There's always those little shiny things on the like those little gold things on the ground.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
an infinite number of them.
yeah, so like you give me a game where I can just pick up shiny stuff. I'm gonna walk around all day picking up shiny stuff and breaking off those mega shards,
Yeah.
right? Like that's like early on. I was like, I'm gonna just level up my character by breaking mega shards because you get XP for doing that. Uh, and
Yeah.
then I didn't even know what I was doing with the mega shards because I hadn't unlocked the thing for it yet.
Man, I'll tell you, you can never have too many of those. Even
For
when you
real,
get tired of breaking them, just keep getting them.
I know, but there's a
You'll never have
limit.
enough.
You hit like
Yes,
$9.99.
yeah, you do have to spend them at a certain point.
That's lame. I gotta say it. Because like early on, I hit the $9.99. I didn't even know I was at a limit, and then I get to I get to the place where you can actually use them, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have been hitting these until after.
Yeah, you hitting the cap on mega shards before you get to the place you can spend them is eerily similar to you having like maxed out money in Donkey Kong Bonanza on like the starting island before you have to buy anything expensive.
There's a trend going on here, Donovan. I like to break things in games. Yes, guilty as charged. Give me shiny thing to break with hitting thing. Yes, me do that. Like hitting thing.
Yeah.
Fun. And yeah, I
That's
like
right.
collecting
That's
shit. Like this game is about collecting shit. That's all it is.
It is.
And
Yeah.
like
Gotta catch 'em all.
it's yeah, and then yeah, like also I've mentioned it before, but I think the music in this game is outstanding. Like this has been an excellent year for music on the Nintendo Switch too. Kirby Air Riders has fantastic music, Donovan. Um, Donkey Kong, I love the music in Donkey Kong, and then yeah, Mario Kart World, which is like maybe the best soundtrack they've ever shipped. They're flexing this year in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to ask Donovan, is there like if you were to rank the types of Pokemon, is there one that's considered the most dominant? Because I feel like my Charizard can take out like 3 out of every 5 Pokemon I've and like I'm talking roasted, like super effective moves.
Yeah. That's actually a great question because yes, there are some types that just naturally have more offensive moves that have higher power. Fire has always been a very offensive uh, typing, so yeah, fire Pokemon are naturally pretty strong. Dragon was so strong that they invented fairy types to like nerf it a little bit because it was so strong with so few weaknesses. Um, I'd say those are the two big ones. Fighting types have always been really powerful. Ground type Pokemon are very powerful, if only because Earthquake alone makes them really strong. I'd say those are probably the big ones.
Okay.
Fire Dragon, which if you get the Charizardite X Stone, that version is Fire Dragon, and it's like
Ooh.
blue and black. It looks cool as hell, and it is a beast.
Yeah.
Probably
Oh,
still the
wow.
fan favorite Mega Evolution, I'd say.
Okay. Cool.
My MVP is Boys. He
Yeah.
Yeah.
is he's a fighter type, right, Donovan? Um,
I think Heracross is bug. It might be bug fight. It's either bug fighting or just bug.
I think he's bug
But yeah, it's like
fighting.
a big fucking beetle.
Yeah, he's a giant
Looking thing.
beetle that you have to trade with someone. I don't know if you've gotten to that point yet, David, but like
I have not. No.
his
It's a side mission, so you couldn't miss it. But
the name
yeah.
of the one that
Oh,
you get is his name is Boys, right?
Yeah, she has a nickname for him. They love doing that. Whenever an NPC gives you a Pokemon, they love giving them nicknames.
So like I'm like I don't even call it Heracross. I'm like Boys. And
Hmm.
I'm like, why can't I evolve Boys? And I'm like, oh, Boys is already evolved. And then I
Hmm.
finally got I was you know how all the stones dominant are named like whatever Pokemon ite. So I'm like,
Yeah.
where's Boyzite?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true.
I'm
Yeah, you
like,
gotta get
I'm like, why can't I find Boyzite anywhere? And I'm like,
Heracross.
oh, it's
And
Heracross.
that naming convention is so funny because for the last 10 years, if people have begged and pleaded for a Dragonite Mega Evolution, the joke was always it's going to be called Dragonite. And then we
Yeah.
finally got it. And I was so excited when I got the review code to figure out what the stone was called, and it's Dragonite.
Yeah.
Is what they call it in Legends of, which is also very, very silly, but they painted themselves into a corner.
Dragonite. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm happy to hear you're enjoying it though, David. I think it's a delightful game. It was a
This is an Animal
surprise.
Crossing situation for me, Asif, where someone's like, "You should try this." I'm like, "Oh, right," because I was tired of it or didn't know about it, and now I'm hooked on it.
Hmm.
You know, this is the
Yeah.
Animal Crossing all over again.
I mean, Animal Crossing was funny though, David, because I gave you a key or whatever, and then like you're like, what the hell is this game?
Right.
Like you messaged me, you're like, what is this? And I'm like, I don't know, just do some stuff, man. And then you messaged me like the next day, you're like, I love this game. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, I know. Uh it was really funny. I'm glad you brought up Animal Crossing here though, because it was funny to see you and our managing editor Bill Lavoie fall in love
Yes.
with that game. Where like I would say it's probably Bill's favorite Nintendo game of all time is Animal
Probably.
Crossing New
Probably.
Horizons. Uh, and it was just I'm not saying like I didn't expect you guys to like it. I actually thought you would appreciate it over time because it's just.
I was surprised by Bill too, though.
But yeah, like I was just like, oh, there's like something going on here. But then like once I found out like Bill's really into like landscaping and yard work, I'm like, oh, you're gonna love this
Yeah.
game.
You can see the connections for sure, yeah.
Yeah, because like his house is they have like flower beds and all it's very well manicured and all that good stuff. So like if you're into that, like it's gonna lead to that. But also just talk about another game with a fantastic gameplay loop, right? And that's the thing I think is really fresh about ZA Donovan is like that day night cycle. It isn't what forces your hand at all, but it also like guides you where it's like, hey, it's nighttime,
Hmm.
go to the battle zone, or
Yeah.
hey, and like as the game progresses, David, the promotion matches really kind of intertwine with the story in a way that I think is cool. Um,
Yeah.
so I've really enjoyed that aspect of it.
I hope they take the right lessons from that game, man. I really love Pokemon Legends ZA. I hope they carry that momentum into whatever they do next, their next big, grand, new Pokemon game that's gonna have like new Pokemon in it and stuff. Um, I would love for there to be a new Pokemon game that comes out, and a bunch of us on staff are hyped up to check it out and play it. I think that'd be fun to see that franchise kind of
We're getting
get
champions
back into that
next year,
place.
right?
Champions is supposed to be next year. Yeah, it's like the battle sim sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll
that's
be out.
not what you're talking about. You're talking about the Gen 10.
Not yeah, I mean like Gen 10 did X big
Yeah,
story game. Yeah.
yeah. I'm more likely to try it because of how much I like ZA. I'll tell you that much.
Same.
But yeah, it's also just like it's funny, man. Like it's 2025 and I'm talking about how much I like a Pokemon game. I did not expect that. This is one of my least expected outcomes of the year that I'm pounding the table this hard for it. But it's that damn good. It really is. Um, But yeah, I was trying to think, like, what was the other game where I was like kind of shocked that I'm
Shot that you liked
yeah, as much as
this
I
year, or
did.
like in the past?
Um, this year, but even in the past, yeah, I can't talk about one of the games. I'm not even shocked about the game that I like that I'm reviewing right now, so I
Right.
won't dwell on that. But hey, you remember why we made this podcast, you guys?
I do.
I do.
So back in June, I can talk about this now. I got a call from Nintendo PR, which is funny because they're like, "Hey, can we get on the phone?" It wasn't like an email saying, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you about whatever." It was just like, "Hey, can we talk?" Which is like a weird. That's a weird way to start the conversation. So I said, "Sure." Get on the phone, and this is after the April preview event. Right, this is sometime between April and June of this year, and they go, we're not gonna do review units for the Switch 2. Like we're not gonna do early access for the Switch 2. The servers for Mario Kart World aren't gonna be live until June 5th. Like all these things were said to me, and I was just like, I kind of chuckled, and I was like, okay. And they're like, you're handling this way too well. Because, like, they had this conversation probably with many other journalists that day, right?
Yeah.
And maybe, like, a 3-letter website was like, how dare you not give us a review unit early? We've been covering your consoles for X amount of years, and we have a relationship, and look at all these interviews and previews and features, and we wanted to make a map for your game, and yeah, I was just kind of like, okay, because we already had seen the pre-orders had gone live, right? And there was like, hey, like we were talking about it at the Shacknews Awards deliberations, how Hollow Knight broke a bunch of eShop and like all the digital stores. Do you remember trying to buy a Switch 2 earlier this year? Those Best Buy's website collapsed. Target.com was in shambles. Like, these are not easy to come by. So I was like, you guys don't need us in a lot of ways. So I said, like, what if we don't review the console? Like, what if we don't rush to review the console? We actually take our time with it. So yeah, I finally did it. I finally reviewed the Nintendo Switch 2. I feel like we got enough information. We've now experienced it for like 6 months. But really, this podcast has chronicled our collective experience as a staff with the Nintendo Switch 2. The good and the bad. The Welcome Tour and the Dragon Drive. The GameCube Switch Online app, which has been hit or miss, right? Like, Soul Calibur 2 is fun and cool. I'm the F-Zero stan on staff. How many times have I talked about playing F-Zero GX on my Nintendo Switch 2?
Not many.
Once.
No.
Because the input latency is terrible. Like,
Right.
awful. And, like, Dolphin has had a better port of F-Zero GX for years. So there's been this good and bad yin and yang of the Nintendo Switch 2 launch that we've gotten to see evolve throughout the year. Donkey Kong Bonanza is a good example of that time, in which you reviewed, where delightful video game,
Yeah.
but it has its warts. And like, if we reviewed the Switch 2 before that game came out, we would think this thing's first party support is flawless, but it's not. There are flaws to the Nintendo Switch 2, and I kind of hit everything in my review.
Yeah, you did.
It's an extensive look at the good and the bad. So I called it irritating and incredible iterative innovations. My point here is that, like, this is not, like, the Nintendo Switch will go down as, like, the launch year of Nintendo Switch will go down as one of the most magical years in the history of video gaming. And a year where Nintendo had their back up against the wall, David, and they swung. Right? Like, they didn't just curl up in a ball. They, like, went for it. They said, here's Breath of the Wild, here's Odyssey. Two of the, I would say, best entries in their two biggest franchises, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But also, like, here's everything we learned from the failure of the Wii U. Nintendo is really good at that. Where they, if something doesn't work, they ask, why didn't it work? What did we do wrong? What can we do better? So flash forward to now, the Nintendo Switch has sold over 153 million units. It's on its way to being the best-selling Nintendo hardware device of all time. It probably has already happened at the time of the recording of this podcast. So, like, they're in a different era, and this the Nintendo Switch 1 was conceived during the Iwata era at Nintendo. Like, it's kind of Iwata's swan song. And obviously, Reggie Fils-Aimé was still the president of Nintendo of America when it launched. Miyamoto was still a little bit more actively involved in game development at that point, or even hardware development. And obviously, he's moved on to be like the elder statesman of the company and doing museums and amusement parks and movies. So, like, it's a different era of Nintendo. And I consider this like the iPhone. The iPhone was so transformative and such a holy shit moment for technology in general that it would not make sense to try to make a completely different thing. Like, Nintendo, by merging handheld with console, they cracked the code for what was ailing them, dividing their development teams into making Mario 3D Land and Mario 3D World, right? Making a Link Between Worlds and making like a Zelda game for console, which they ended up delaying to Breath of the Wild, which was going to be on Wii U, but was that straddle launch game. There are echoes of all of this in the Switch too. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond being that straddle game, Pokemon Legends ZA being a straddle game. But we talked about this on the podcast. The Switch 2 feels like buying a new PC. It's like all of your Steam games run better on your new PC, right? Yeah. All of your Switch games run better on your Switch 2. The continuity of the eShop, I think, is the most important part of the Switch 2 success. And, like, I think about the casual people I have in my life that just aren't really hardcore gamers, aren't usually early adopters, right? Like, they usually buy a system later on. Mm-hmm. They bought a Switch 2 at launch. And when I ask them why, it's the backwards compatibility with the software, the continuity of purchases across the eShop, the fact that your Animal Crossing game runs better on the Switch 2.
Yeah.
And also, like, if you were an early adopter of the Nintendo Switch, and let's say you didn't upgrade to the OLED and you didn't buy a Switch Lite, you just rocked the Switch for 8 years, that's a hell of a value for $300, right? Like, think about how much entertainment people got, how clutch it was during the pandemic for people. Like, Nintendo had a lot of goodwill, and I think they're like, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. And it's like, it's just interesting to see Nintendo enter their iPhone era, or to, like, they're viewing this like PlayStation. This is their PlayStation 2, right? This is their Xbox 360. It's funny that out of all the companies now, Xbox has the worst naming methodology. Yeah. But
for sure.
But even just calling this Nintendo Switch 2 implies something. That, like, hey, we make Switches now. And even if there are things that I think the Switch 2 is lacking, which we'll get into here, they're going to make a Switch 3, right?
Well, yeah. Definitely.
Like, this is a Switch company now. This is the future of gaming for them. And it's moved you look at the industry. Microsoft with the Xbox ROG, Xbox Ally, Xbox X, and PlayStation with this rumored PS6 handheld thing, and also
And the Portal.
then the Portal, exactly.
You know.
But then on the PC side, Steam Deck, the Lenovo Go, the ROG Ally. Like the whole industry is chasing Nintendo again, David. Like it's like the success of the Game Boy, the success of the DS, the success of the Wii, the success of the NES. Like it's all of these things again, and it's their learnings from all of these things showing up again. But like that thing that when I talk to like casual gamers who bought this Switch 2 this year, it's the continuity of the purchases. That's the number one thing.
Yep.
Now, I think that is a blessing and a curse for this device because what I think is the biggest problem with the Nintendo Switch 2 is that it still supports those cartridges. And that decision to support cartridges as the physical medium for this device has led to technical limitations. The speed of the 64 gig cartridge is slow. It's also only 64 gigs, and it's 2025. Games are bigger than 64 gigs. Madden can't fit on this thing. I don't think NBA 2K could, Donovan. And then some games just simply can't run well on it in cartridge format. It really makes me appreciate Cyberpunk and how well optimized, which is so bizarre, Donovan. That game launched in such a terrible state in 2020 on the consoles, right? And even on most PCs. The fact that Cyberpunk 2077 is a showpiece on the Nintendo Switch 2,
Yeah.
I did not expect that. That's like one of the wildest things to come out of this year.
A game that Sony offered refunds for on PS4, which they never do once you pass that whatever their like time limit is. 'Cause
Certification,
played,
yeah.
yeah, it played so bad to now being like Nintendo's biggest technical showpiece outside of their own first party games. Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Like that
For
to
a
me is
5-year turnaround.
wild. And props to CD Projekt Red for the turnaround of that game, but also what they did this year from an engineering standpoint. Like they deserve a lot of praise for that. But then also like it brings me to that whole the third party roulette that we've talked about on this show all year. That like
Yeah.
it's like rolling the dice, Donovan. Like you don't know, And what I was saying earlier, they didn't need us to review the Switch 2 to sell the game or to sell the system. But boy, do game companies need us to sell their games to tell people? Do gamers need us to tell them if these third party games are good or not? Right? Like, because
Yep.
I would not just blindly buy a third party title for the Switch 2. And boy, that frustrates the hell out of me because that's the thing that sucked about the original Switch. And here we are again, and it still sucks about this thing. Like, that bums me out because, like, I wanted this to be I didn't need another device. I don't need a PS5 anymore. I don't need an Xbox. I definitely don't need an Xbox. But, like, for third party, I now have a very capable PC. So depending on the quality of the PC port, maybe that's where I'm going to buy a game instead of on the Nintendo Switch 2. But like it just sucks that that's like still a problem. Like City Skylines ran like ass on the original Switch. So like I definitely would rather play it on the PC. Elden Ring is a perfect example this year. One of the bigger announcements at the April Direct was, hey, Elden Ring Tarnished Edition, which is the most cursed name maybe ever.
Yeah. Very ironic.
Such a bad port that they weren't even allowed to show footage of it from Gamescom where the hands-on were occurring.
Yeah.
And, David, we talked about it. Like, the From Software ports to the original Switch also kind of sucked. And even to PC.
One of the first things I did when I got the Switch 2 was, I booted up Animal Crossing and was pleasantly surprised to see that it ran better because the frame rate wasn't locked. So then I booted up Dark Souls Remastered, which was infamous for not really being remastered. It was basically the Xbox 360 and PS3 version, 720p, 30 locked 30, and it didn't run any better. And I was pretty disappointed in that. So to hear this about Elden Ring was a double disappointment.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like that's like one of the bigger negatives. So as I said, like this backwards compatibility is like a double-edged sword in that, yeah,
Yeah.
you want to support all those cartridges. And I think maybe in the future, the way they can do this is kind of like what the DS did, David, with the Game Boy Advance cartridges, where like you'll be able to plug in your cartridge into the next
Yeah.
Switch. But I have a feeling we're going all digital next generation. I think Nintendo is slowly pushing consumers to go digital. And
It
go
feels
ahead.
almost like a game of chicken between the big three of who's gonna just rip the band-aid off and do it fully and be like, there are no boxes for our games anymore. There's no dongle. It's just not a thing anymore. They're all digital.
I think it's
Um,
Microsoft that's going to do it first because they have the holy cloud. They love Azure, right? So it's like
yeah,
and Game Pass, like they're all about the services aspect of their platform anyway. And also, have you been to a retailer lately? They don't have a whole lot of shelf space for Xbox games anymore. Like I do think that's an aspect of this though, Donovan, is like retail, you don't want to give up the shelf space, but at the same
yeah.
time, how important is being at Best Buy anymore?
Yeah, they're gonna have to answer that soon, especially Nintendo, who always has very strong presence in a Target or a Best Buy. You'll always see the cardboard standees of Mario and Link and whatnot. So, yeah, that'll be a big deal
And
if
even
they
demo
start
stations.
to
Like
that too.
there are still at Best Buy there are demo stations for the Nintendo Switch 2. There are multiple. I think
Mhm.
even GameStop has them. I haven't been to a Target in a while, so I don't know what they're doing over there. They got their own problems.
Yeah,
Uh, and then yeah, like even at Walmart, there's still that game section in the back of Walmart, right? Um, but I don't know if like I just don't think it's discoverability of games is tied to physical retail anymore. It is more in Japan than it is over here, but I think like I think you bring up a good point. It is a game of chicken between the big three right now. And obviously
Mhm.
Steam's already made it abundantly clear. Like
'Cause, I mean, I say it's a game of chicken because whoever does it's gonna get shit. They're all gonna get a lot of shit for this when it inevitably happens, right? Like Nintendo's already getting shit for game key cards, which is like
exactly.
a half step, foot out the door sort of thing. But
And
it's
like I
really
tried
messy.
to handle the game keycard topic in this review fairly, David, where it's
Mhm.
look, I say it straight up, they're not physical media. These
No.
are it's a different way to enable downloadable games. And why I think it's somewhat helpful is that like if you're a grandparent and you want to gift a game to a kid, you can just buy them a game key card and they can download the game without having to have a credit card on their Switch too. That's like the utility of it. And from a dev standpoint, you're getting games on the Switch 2 that you wouldn't otherwise. And that's a good thing for everyone. But it is like this half step where it's like they're pushing us towards digital downloads. They don't want to say it, they don't want to completely sever the relationship with retail, like physical retail, but these are not collector's items. These are not going to appreciate in value over time. And if down the road there is some sort of issue with continuity on the eShop, like maybe there won't be. Maybe this is like the App Store. Maybe this is like Steam. It'll persist for a very long time. But the ephemeral nature of digital storefronts implies that some of these aren't going to be valuable forever. And that's the difference between an SNES cartridge, like a super rare SNES cartridge, or the getting Super Mario Bros. In box, one of the first 10,000 cartridges from that NES run, David. Like that,
Right.
this has killed the collector's market, and it's just unfortunate because Nintendo was the last company standing here, and for the most part, their first party titles still support their cartridges. But I do wonder, like, is a game like Donkey Kong Bonanza hampered by some of this, Donovan? Like, is the performance tied to the fact that it had to be optimized for that? Or were they pushing their hardware so hard with the voxels? Did they just have so many voxels on screen that they knew that they were going to break the game and they just didn't care? Like, that's all very frustrating to me because I think this is all tied together, I guess is my point. that like
Yeah.
when you have a brand new system and you have a flagship title made by the one of the most legendary developers, the people who made Mario Odyssey, and this ultimate moment has some of the worst slowdown. Yeah, it was the most disappointing moment in the year for me. And it's like, why? I don't think Donkey Kong Bonanza is my game of the year. Like, it's so frustrating, Donovan, because I haven't had more fun in any other game this year. Like, I've had the most fun all year playing Donkey Kong Bonanza. I can just say that out of every video game I played. But no game has pissed me off more at the ultimate moment than Donkey Kong Bonanza. And that's just super frustrating for a launch year game. And it's not like the frame rate drops in the Lost Woods and Breath of the Wild in 2017. It's just not. That didn't take away anything from that Master Sword moment. Right? Like, it didn't. It didn't take away from the end of the game. That moment where you see all, like, spoiler alert for Breath of the Wild. When you see all the divine beasts shoot their lasers into Hyrule Castle, that is the most satisfying fucking moment I had in that year, right? Like, I was like, finally, a game's like, all that work you did, here's the payoff, right? Is very much the opposite with Donkey Kong at the end, and that bummed me out. Because I'm like, come on. Like, this can't be, like, you can't just say this is good enough. And it's like, yeah, maybe the Switch 3 will address these problems. But man,
yeah,
like, that's so frustrating, man. And it's these, and it's because they are now a Switch company that they have to, like, embrace these things that they're not all good. Like, some of the parts of the Switch were bad. And, like, because they need this continuity across the generations, and because they wanted to keep the form factor, and they wanted to keep continuity of buttons. I can talk about the industrial design here for a second. I still hate the fucking Joy-Con. They suck. Still.
I think I'm a Joy-Con defender. I'll say it. I think I'm...
Okay, Donovan. Defend the D buttons.
To be honest, I've never had too much religion about D-pad just because I grew up with analog stick controlled games. I didn't start using D-pad for stuff until later on in my gaming career. But when I grew up, it was like Halo and all. You used the analog stick anyway. So then the D-pad was like an afterthought. That was like when I started playing like roguelites and stuff as a teenager and an adult that I used that. But I do get it that the people prefer the pad over the buttons. But
like, what was
sometimes I like to like lean back and just like have my arms by my side and one Joy-Con left, one on the right, and I'm just playing, like looking up without having to do this.
Look,
That's nice.
I also like Homer Simpson Al Bundy mode. Like, that's a great aspect of that. Like, I'm not gonna, like, it's not. The Wii remote was better than the Joy-Con.
Wii remote was pretty cool.
Yes.
It just was. Nintendo invented the fucking D-pad, David. Like, and now they have the worst directional pad out of every console.
Do you feel like they're locked into having to do that because of the, hey, play multiplayer out of the box factor?
Yes. Yeah. And that's one of those things I'm talking about. Is like, it's super frustrating that they're like, hey, continuity. Hey, we make Switches now. Hey, like, okay, fine. We're going to have these for the rest of our lives. We're going to have D buttons. Because, like, you know what I will never do? Unless I'm doing it for testing purposes, I will never play F-Zero 99 in handheld. Because, like, blow my brains out. But also, like, I don't even like the D-pad on the Pro controller. I got a problem with that one as well. It's better in this generation, but I have, like, I have the, what is it? The 8-bit 2? Yeah, that D-pad it's fine, Donovan, but go play Tetris with that. Please. Let me know.
I could play some Tetris 99.
Go win Tetris 99 with that. Go play F-Zero. Dude, all it took for me, David, was, you know how when you're jumping in F-Zero, you have to hold down on the D-pad? All it
Yeah.
took was one incorrect input where I slightly tilted my thumb to the left and it took me off the level and I died while I was jumping. That was it. I was like, I threw the controller down. I'm like, give me my 8-bit 2. Because guess what the 8-bit 2 has? It has the fucking NES D-pad on it. It's like, Nintendo, you made the best D-pad and you did it in the 80s.
Yep.
Like, it's been perfect. It was perfect for Tecmo Super Bowl, Donovan. It was perfect for Tetris. Yeah, so like, fuck the Joy-Con in particular. And also just from an industrial design standpoint, like, I think this thing's too fucking big. I just think it's too big. It is not a handheld device anymore. But like, I might be the old man yelling at the cloud here, because like, Donovan, you have a Steam Deck and you use, I think you primarily play your Switch 2 in handheld, right?
It's a good mix for me. Yeah, it's probably like 60-40 docked to handheld at this point with my Switch. But yeah, I definitely play it docked more than the Switch One just because games are prettier and run better now, and I like seeing them on my nice TV. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like with the Switch specifically, there's like a push comes to shove moment where it's like you want to make it powerful, but you also want it to be able to be untethered. Where like at some point there's going to be a compromise. Like either you're going to have to stop letting this be an untethered device, or it's going to just have to stop getting more powerful. Like there's going to have to be like a cutoff of how well it can run games
Well,
before it just becomes untenable.
I think it's also cost concern, Donovan. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
they could make this device run extremely well in handheld if they chose to go the iPhone route or the iPad route, right? Where the A series chip, you can play Death Stranding on an iPad, right? You can play, and I know you can play Resident Evil on the Switch too. And like, that's the thing. Like, Capcom is another dev that I want to highlight here. Street Fighter 6 is another highlight on the Nintendo Switch 2 launch year. It runs excellently on the Nintendo Switch 2. And that's that roulette aspect of it. But they don't want to make $1,000 Nintendo device.
Yeah.
This is the most expensive Nintendo device of all time. $450, right? Which is expensive. But in this new post-tariff landscape, it's not. Like, relative to its competitors, it's not. Outside of the Steam Deck, which is old, technically. But, like, it's a... I think over time, Donovan, what we're going to see is chip architecture will improve to the point where it won't be as much of an issue. But kind of going back to your earlier point about the performance in handheld mode, the battery life got worse.
It did. Yeah.
Somehow, the battery life got worse. I bought a new system, and it's got worse battery life than the previous one. That sucks. That's like a really shitty aspect of this thing. And it's one of those things that having it for more than a day, which a lot of our competitors who rushed their Switch reviews out that week of June didn't really get to spend time with. Yeah, this thing, its battery life is terrible. It's especially bad when you're playing online games. So, like, if you're playing Mario Kart World in handheld mode, or if you're playing F-Zero 99, or if you're playing Tetris 99, this thing chews through battery rapidly. And that's a bummer, because, like, it's a brand new system, and it's got worse battery life than my 2017 Switch.
Yeah, it's bad enough that like most of my handheld sessions end because I see the battery warning and I'm like, oh, time to dock it, which is not great.
No, and
I played Pokemon the other day for 20 to 30 minutes, and I realized the battery was already down to 53% from 100. And I was like, what? Because I had it in kickstand mode at my work desk.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, this is terrible. It wasn't even an hour.
And like, and that's why they put this stupid USB port at the top of the Switch too, is that you can charge it while you're in tabletop mode. Because like, what I've found is like, and I called it out in the review, this is a lovely little portable television, is what it's turned into for me. So I'm using it I use it in tabletop mode. It's funny how the original Switch, I never used in tabletop mode, largely because that kickstand was terrible.
Yeah, it was
The Switch OLED I used quite a bit in tabletop mode because that was a great screen, and there were games out there that like had come out. I was playing F-Zero X and the N64 app on it, and yeah, like a bunch of games. So I started doing that then. Now it's like I'm like 90% docked, 5% or probably 9% tabletop, 1% handheld. And that was just the original Switch. I was like 60% handheld, 40% docked. Because the performance wasn't a big issue, Donovan. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I need to play everything at 1080p on my 4K television. But now it's like I can play 4K or 2K games on my big TV. So I mainly play docked now. But like my whole point is, if they're gonna embrace this whole hybrid thing, make it perform better as a handheld, ergonomically and battery life. Like it's both. Like I don't know what's wrong with me. It's not that my hands are small. I just don't like holding this thing for extended periods of time in handheld.
Yeah. I would love to see the inevitable mid-generation refresh for Switch 2 have a strong emphasis on handheld, maybe ergonomics. We've seen the third parties come out with like ergonomic Joy-Cons. Would be really cool to see Nintendo to try their hand at a first party ergonomic Joy-Con thing, maybe. I don't know. Obviously, bigger battery life feels like it has to be there, but I would like to see them take a swing at just the handheld experience in general for whatever the mid lifespan
It is
refreshes.
inevitable that we will get a mid lifespan refresh to this. I don't know what that will be.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think OLED is the thing that we need. But I think a smaller form factor, maybe one that doesn't dock, like kind of like what they did with the Switch Lite. But the Switch Lite sold so terribly because it wasn't small enough. Like it really feels like Nintendo has given up entirely because of the iPhone. iPhone is now the ultra portable gaming device, or smartphones in general, right? And like they just gave up. They're not even trying to compete in that space anymore. And that seems lame to me. Like if there was a Switch, not even Switch 2, a Switch 1 that I could fit in my pocket, David, that was like actually a ultra portable Switch that could play Animal Crossing or Breath of the Wild on it, I would buy it day one. Because like this is not, it's not ultra portable. The original Switch wasn't either, but at least it was like,
it was more portable.
it was lighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like, no. So I think that's a miss here, Donovan. That's like, and I mentioned it, like, I wish that they allowed for the USB ports to be used, like, for streaming. I wanted to be able to stream in handheld. And it's like, I get why the dock exists and how that enables 4K gaming and stuff. But if you're going to give us two USB ports, allow one of them to charge and allow one of them to output in 1080p. And then I could stream Mario Maker in handheld, right? Like, or Plants vs. Zombies, David. Like, it would enable us to do stuff that we can't do right now. And I find it frustrating that, like, there's this thing that the Wii U did that you still can't do here. Just a couple more frustrating things before I get to me giving this thing its ultimate flowers. Game chat. When was the last time you used it, Donovan?
Mine was like a couple weeks ago, but it was only for a Nintendo press event.
There you go.
Yeah. It's the only time I use this for Nintendo press events or when we've streamed with it, which we've even stopped doing at this point. Never touched this with my friends a single time.
No. Never. Your friend group's like, hey, let's get on game chat. Never.
Yeah. Just get on Discord. Everybody has it. It's easier and it's better.
I said it. It's like Nintendo telling gamers, hey, we have Discord at home. And it's like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's not good enough. Like the gameplay streaming aspect of it is terrible. And it eats up system resources. This is an OS level thing that eats up RAM. Like the system RAM is being used to support this, Donovan, and it's like terrible design
The overlay's
choice.
terrible. If you want to watch your friends' streams, how it cuts off like 25% of your screen at the bottom, this is terrible. It does not look good. The first time I did that, I was like, oh, and I immediately went in and hid it. I was like, I just won't look at your screens. That's fine.
Yeah.
Unless you have a big ass TV, that just is not a fun way to.
And they shipped an update recently to the OS where you can just use the audio. You can get rid of the video streaming entirely, and it's your full screen game, and it's using audio. I get why they did that. Nintendo wants to be a safe platform that like parents can control. So Discord is not a safe place. It just isn't. Like you can have
it from Nintendo's points of view, people have done horrible things on Discord and terrible events have been organized over Discord calls. I get why they didn't want to like hitch their product to that service, but like nobody's using this shit. Now, when I look at my controller and I see that fucking C button on the bottom,
it's a waste.
It's such a miss.
It's a complete waste. Yeah, it's a waste of resources. It's a waste of a button placement. It's a design decision that was probably scope limited, David. Like, this feels like it was an idea that Iwata had before he passed away, and they, like, didn't ship it with the original Switch because of cost limitations or tech limitations or RAM. And it just it finally shipped in 2025, and it's, like, so late. It is so late. And then the other side of it, game share is also categorically terrible, Donovan, especially online. Like, have you seen the resolutions that people are getting when they game share like Donkey Kong to a Switch 1 or like
no, I haven't.
It's god awful, man. So it's like cool idea. The local stuff is decent, right? Like the fact that you can do that, like we've been able to do that since DS. I like that came back, but the implementation of this stuff is annoying and it limits the actual utility of the device. And that's extremely frustrating to me. So yeah, that's one of those negatives I wanted to mention. I already talked about the ergonomics. Look, it is a better Switch. Like, it's a better Switch. You got 4K Breath of the Wild, 60 frames per second. 4K Tears of the Kingdom, 60 frames per second. 2K Mario Kart, 24-player Mario Kart, great online. Like, the online actually works, Donovan. Like,
it does.
We finally have internet on a Nintendo device. Now, like, once again, it's 2025. I don't want to give them their flowers for finally figuring out internet. But, like, at least they figured out internet. Because, like, we've been doing, like, David, we played Soul Calibur, Donovan, we played Mario Strikers, like, our Mario Kart streams, we just did a Kirby Air Riders stream, like, these things work. Yes, occasionally you'll have a drop, but that's true on any online environment, right? It's not materially bad anymore. Now, I think the real test will be Smash. If they ship Smash and it doesn't have dog shit online, I will consider that a huge win for them because Smash has been abysmal.
Yeah.
When it comes to online play. But I wanted to at least say, hey, they did that. I that header, David. I said new features, some of which you may use, like the camera. I don't know how many of us are using the camera.
I haven't used it since our last staff stream, honestly.
It's a novel thing in Mario Kart world. I can see kids enjoying it, but like it's not.
I feel like if it's functional like that, like I actually like seeing. It reminds me of the Mario Kart arcade game. Remember, it would take your picture, and so you could see that above avatars. That I think is cool, but it's like Zombie U on the Wii U, where that developer, who was that? Ubisoft, I think. They were the only ones to really make clever use of the gamepad.
Yeah, the asynchronous thing. Yeah. You're right. It is like that. And so is the mouse. Like, I think the mouse is great for accessibility, but I'm not sure when Metroid Prime comes out if I'm going to be playing it with a mouse. I'm probably going to play it with the Pro Controller. Yeah. That being said, Civ with a mouse is cool. If they ever give us Mario Maker 3, Lord knows I'm going to be using a mouse for that. So, like, there are things down the road. But, like, their first real mouse game, Donovan, outside of the hit game Welcome Tour, was freaking Drag and Drive, which is like that's not how mouse is used. Like that's a very Nintendo way to like here's how you don't actually use a pointer device on computing at all. Those are some of those features I'm talking about. But I do want to like highlight they did offer us button mapping, in like game specific button mapping in the OS update. That's huge for accessibility, and just supporting pointer devices in general. It doesn't necessarily like you can plug a USB mouse into this thing. That's huge for accessibility. Like Nintendo got better at accessibility this generation, so I do appreciate that. And that extra USB-C port enables stuff like that while you're docked. But yeah, we already went into the game key cards of it all. We already went into the game chat of it all, the game share of it all. I really do think that the backwards compatibility decision is a double-edged sword. But I do think it's a value. It's funny how like my friends who bought this that did it for backwards compatibility, they have like 1 or 2 Switch 2 games. They're just playing Animal Crossing on it. Like it's still
Yeah. That's kind of my friends as well. Yeah, I mean they all bought like the Switch 2 version of Pokemon. I think maybe 1 or 2 of them might have gotten Donkey Kong. Most of them didn't. They all got Mario. I think it's like Mario Kart World and Pokemon is like the one I know all my friends have. But other than that, they're just playing Switch games. And I mean, even when they announced this console, a lot of my friends were cynical. They were like, "Oh, gonna have to buy all my stuff again." And I had to be the one that's like, "No, no, no!" Like they're finally gonna let you carry your stuff over. And they're like, "Whoa, really? Okay." So yeah, I think that was a big selling point for people. And even me, you compared it earlier to being like getting a new PC, which is I think is a great comparison because you always get a new PC, you update your GPU. First thing you do is install games you haven't played in 3 years just to see how they run, see what the number is. That was me with this. Like when day one, I was just like booting up, like obviously Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, but also like Dragon Quest 11, Animal Crossing, just random games that I like hadn't played in a long time, just to see them again and what they looked like.
David,
so, yeah,
you cracked me up. I think it was this weekend or last weekend. You got that new monitor, right?
Yeah.
And David sends me a picture of his first game he's testing on the new monitor. It's Doom.
Of course.
Nice.
He has this massive resolution on the screen, and he's playing Doom, and like that's it.
Doom like 1993, like OG.
1993 Doom.
Yeah.
At 5120 by like 1440 resolution. This 49-inch ultra wide.
It was the most David-ass picture I've ever received. But it reminds me of like Greg. Greg got this new GPU several years ago, and the first game he ran was Pokemon TCG on it.
Wow.
And I was just like, Greg, really? Out of all the things he could have done, Pokemon TCG? But like, before we go, I do want to say this. Yeah, I've complained about game key cards, but it's Donovan, I said something nice about Madden in my review.
You did that. You said that scene Madden there put a smile on your face. I was like, wow, that's a testament to the Switch 2.
Look.
Yeah.
It means something, man. Like
it does.
Day and date shipping Madden on a Nintendo device means something. And that it's not like materially worse. That means something. Yeah. And that NBA 2K ship, like I deleted Madden shortly after this stream that I embedded. Yeah, it pained me to have a Baltimore Ravens t-shirt in my review. But like that was a fun stream. Like we had like a fun time playing Madden on a Nintendo device. It had been since the Wii. Like that's a big deal. The Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 shipped on the Switch simultaneously with the rest of the industry. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. So like the double-edged sword of game key cards is that we've lost the collectability of physical media on a lot of Nintendo's games. Games on Nintendo platforms. But it's not like no one was collecting Maddens. No one's like, check out my Madden collection. It's depreciated 98% since yesterday. You know, like no one is like proud of their game collection from sports titles. But you know, like a game like Street Fighter 6, if it was physical, I would have bought it. Just for the importance of like we didn't have Street Fighter 5 or 4 on Nintendo systems. right? Like, it's a big deal to have Street Fighter back there. It's a huge deal to have Resident Evil 9 shipping simultaneously, right? Like, these are big deals. So, like, there are compromises being made here, but I ended it with, Shintaro Furukawa recently restated the mission of Nintendo. It's creating smiles for generations. They want to make you a fan when you're a kid all the way until you're a grandparent. Right?
Yeah.
And I'll end it with what I said. I said, while there are some frustrating aspects to the iterative approach of Nintendo Switch 2's design and experiences it emphasizes, the product still succeeds in delivering fun experiences that feel like a new generation of games. Donkey Kong Bonanza feels new. Pokemon Legends ZA feels new, even though it's a hybrid. Metroid feels new. Mario Kart World definitely feels new. And yeah, the original Nintendo Switch was a revolutionary breakthrough gaming product that set industry trends for years going forward, and Nintendo Switch 2 builds on its legacy. For most people, a better Switch will be good enough. And
I think that sums it up.
And that's 8 out of 10. I understand that, like, very few people are going to even care that I wrote this review. The decisions have been made, but if you're on the fence, I recommend reading my review. I think it still matters to have critical takes on these things, because we are in this enthusiast world now where everything's awesome or everything's terrible, or how dare you like that thing that I hate? I must convince you that your opinion is wrong. But yeah, like, I wanted to take time with this. I wanted to let games release on it. And I think it's really easy to get swept up in the hype of a launch, especially in that first few weeks. Whereas, we took our time with this. We let games come out. We let the game keycard thing kind of play out, because it wasn't as big of a deal at launch, guys. It wasn't. People weren't rioting about it. Now it's like every single game. Is it a keycard? Is it a keycard? Right? That's become like a narrative. And I did list it as one of my negatives. I listed performance issues as one of my negatives. Third-party software roulette is a negative. The ergonomics of the device are a negative to me, not to Donovan. I don't know what happened to me. I don't like the size of these devices. I don't like the size of the Steam Deck. I think the ROG Xbox Ally is too big, and I think the Switch 2 is too big.
I think it's because they're supposed to be portable, but they don't feel portable either in your hands or as portable devices should feel.
Yeah.
That's what it is for me. Like, I think you said this earlier, and you said it in your review, I believe. Like, the Switch is a portable system, almost in name only. Like, it's almost too big to fit in most pockets.
Yeah.
This does not. Like, in my opinion, you need a carrying case or a backpack or something to carry this around.
It's like iPad size.
Yeah.
And iPad's not handheld either. Like, yeah, you can hold it in your hand, but it's like, for when it comes to Nintendo handhelds, I know, Donovan, you love the DS. I love the DS. Yeah. My favorite Nintendo device is the Game Boy Advance SP. I think it might be the best product ever made. And just from an Apple analog, my favorite Apple device is the iPod Shuffle that was like postage stamp that you could clip on your shirt. Like, I love ultra portable devices. I love the industrial design that goes into something like that. Also, the battery life on the SP was outstanding. Like, days, David. Like a crazy performance. And yeah, for me, like, I bought that with my own money because, like, I didn't have a Game Boy. So when I got the SP, I could play Game Boy Color games. I could play, it was a big deal. That had backwards compatibility in it. So there's echoes of what made the SP special in this, but the size is an issue, and the lack of a D-pad is an issue. But yeah, all that being said, I love the Nintendo Switch ecosystem. Last year, I was playing my Switch OLED every day, right? This year, I'm playing my Nintendo Switch 2 every day. So nothing's changed on that front. And like, I do think that we're all kind of falling into the same thing that Apple users fall into. Where like you're in the iPhone ecosystem now, or even before the iTunes ecosystem, right? So now we're all in the eShop ecosystem. And we have all those purchases. It's honestly a masterful gambit from Nintendo to do this. They deserve a lot of credit for how well they executed on that simple idea, but technically that's not an easy thing to do. So, yeah. All that being said, I still love this thing. It's just frustrating at times. And I have a feeling it'll continue to be frustrating over time. But man, like, I can't wait to see what's next. Like, what games we don't know about yet. Like, what third parties are coming to this. Things like Duskbloods. Like, how will Duskbloods perform? Obviously, this podcast isn't over, but it was born out of us not doing a Switch 2 review at launch. We're obviously going to continue talking about Nintendo Switch 2 into the next year. But yeah, thanks to both of you guys for kind of helping me hash out a lot of these ideas that showed up in this review. You got Donovan, you reviewed several of the games that I talked about in this review. You beat my ass in Madden.
Nintendo games this year, man.
Yeah, you played a lot.
My Nintendo first party years, my 10 year.
Yeah. Yeah, normally like maybe we would throw a Pokemon game at you, but yeah, you got Donkey Kong. And yeah, for the folks who are wondering, I'm still working on that Mario Kart World review. It'll probably come out one of these days. But yeah, that'll do it for this show. Like, follow, and subscribe if you like this. This will also be an audio podcast on the various platforms. Everyone have a great Thanksgiving. Stay safe out there. Northeast Ohio, we're going to get hit by a snowstorm. I think we may be safe here in Canton, David. But Cleveland's going to get dumped on, my understanding.
Wow.
Or East
when
Cleveland.
When is that supposed to happen?
Thursday. Like when people are driving, when people are like driving around and stuff. Yeah. It's going to be super windy and yeah. So yeah, to the 5 people in Northeast Ohio who are watching this right now, have a very safe weekend. And the people in Buffalo, New York, you know how Lake Erie loves to dump on Buffalo. But yeah, Don, the Ravens playing on Thursday or Friday?
Yep. Thursday night, ending Thanksgiving against the Cincinnati Bengals here in Baltimore. Should be a good one.
Joe Burrow back. Anyway, yeah. Let us know what you thought of the review. Go read the review on the website. And yeah, let us know if you thought I missed anything. I don't think I did. It's the most exhaustive reviews I've ever done in my career. I think this is the biggest story of the year, and I wanted to give it the proper amount of time. So thanks for everyone who did read it, shared it, and all that good stuff. We're going to get out of here so that we can record more video content for Shacknews in a few minutes. But we'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.